Awaiting the confirmation hearings of Supreme Court nominee Elena Kagan, Republicans on the Judiciary Committee have some serious questions to resolve about this nominee. They say they are concerned her liberal politics could be a driving factor behind her legal decisions on hot-button issues ranging from guns to abortion to campaign finance. Let's talk about it with Utah Senator Orrin Hatch, a Republican on the Judiciary Committee. Senator Hatch, you've been through this process now, I guess, for 13 high court nominees. In the past, the more recent ones we have seen, not a lot of information gets out from the nominee in the process. Do you expect any difference this time?
Well, I think there will be a difference because she was highly critical of Judiciary Committee hearings for Supreme Court nominees in the past. Wrote a law review article on it and said there ought to be more forthcoming, ought to be able to ask more questions, and they ought to get some answers. So hopefully we'll have a more interesting set of hearings this time than we've had. They're always interesting, but even more interesting this time. I'm hopeful.
I guess I won't ask you to give away your first question to the nominee, but overall, what is the one area that you think is of greatest concern to you?
Well, there are probably four areas that are of major concerns to me. One would of course be abortion, then military recruiting, free speech, and that's important as well. And of course, there'll be some other related issues that I think will be very interesting for people, including, I think the Second Amendment issue is going to come up as well. Of course, the Supreme Court came down with a Second Amendment case today that allows the states to determine whether or not guns can be owned and used.
But on abortion, can't she just say, Senator, that is settled law, and if it comes before the court, or it could come before the court, and I'm not going to answer any questions?
Well, I suspect that's what she will say, and of course, if she continues to pursue it that way, that may be difficult to get her to answer or to talk about that particular issue or other issues as well. But we have reason to believe that she's willing to discuss in more depth, and frankly, she probably has the leeway to do it because there are 59, actually now 58 Democrats in the Senate, and of course some other Republicans who probably are favorable to her. So it's very unlikely that she would be stopped in any way. She's probably going to make it through, but she should be asked very tough questions. She should have to answer them, and she should have to express what her judicial philosophy really is going to be, what it really is. And these are important areas of law. After all, this is one of 9 positions. This is the most important court in the world, and there are certain things that really judges should do and certain things they shouldn't.
Senator Hatch, I know that you join the rest of the nation today in mourning the death of West Virginia Senator Robert Byrd. The White House flag is flying at half-staff right now to mark his passing and honor his legendary career. Senator, you worked with him for more than 30 years. When you were first elected, it's my understanding he'd already been serving on Capitol Hill for more than 20 years. What has the institution of the U.S. Senate lost?
Well, we lost a towering figure because this man really loved the Senate, was the principal spokesperson for the legislative branch of government, was a person of tremendous intellect, and he had a memory that was better than an elephant's. He never forgot anything. I have to admit, when I came into the Senate, I was tapped to lead the fight against labor law reform, a must-lose battle that we won by 1 vote. He didn't care for me at that time, and frankly, I didn't care for him. But gradually over the years, I gained tremendous respect and even love for the man. We disagreed on a lot of things, but this was a man who loved the Senate, gave his life to the Senate, set a towering example in the Senate, knew the rules better than anyone else except my dear old friend who died a long time ago, Jim Allen from Alabama. Those two used to be titans getting in battles on the floor. It was really worthwhile for this young senator at the time to see that. But no, this is a great loss to the Senate. The man is, without question, one of the all-time great senators, and certainly the longest serving of all time.
Yeah, 50 years in the U.S. Senate. Yeah. It would seem virtually impossible that that record is going to be challenged.
Well, that's right, and it makes you wonder how he could stand it for 50 years. But he was a powerful force right up to the time he died. I can But every time I'd see him on the floor, I'd go up and say, "How are you doing, Bob?" And I'd shake hands with him, and I'd say, "I love you," and he'd say, "I love you too, Orrin." And that came a long way from those early years where we both were at each other's throats on labor law reform. But I got to tell you, I gained tremendous respect for him. I literally did love him as a senator in many ways, even though I disagreed with him.
The Republican Orrin Hatch of Utah praising the Democrat Robert Byrd of West Virginia, who died last night. Senator Hatch, thanks for being with us.
Nice to be with you.